What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Big Boy Talk. Today, we're going to talk our favorite sports era versus the best sports era. And obviously, we get into our shenanigans later. We might have a few things to talk about. But welcome in my co-host, Mr. Ghost. How you doing, sir?
No, pretty good. Last week was a little rough. Last Friday, boy. They try to take your boy out.
Hey, I was right there with you. We had a rough Friday as a crew. Like we was just down and out. I think Jay might have been the only one that was okay, and he saved us. He hit us with the Twitch stream. Shout out Jay at Jay the 6. So if y'all don't know, go follow my boy. Um, but we was both down and out. Neither one of us could make it last Friday. It was a rare occurrence, very rare occurrence. But
Pause.
yeah, I guess pause. So I'll let that one rock. Um, how was your week though? Good week.
Man, Wednesday, was it Wednesday night, Thursday morning, about 2 a.m. I woke up, hopped up off the couch. That back locked up.
Mm.
Boy, I could hardly walk at work today. Thank God my chiropractor appointment was for Friday because he said two vertebrae were off or some shit like that. He popped them shits back in place and I
Mm,
can walk again.
Ain't no pain like a back pain, bro. Um,
What?
I say it's women with their pregnancy first, and then it's back pain second. Like hands down.
I had lidocaine and ultra tiger balm, and it was not doing the job.
Never will, never will. Sorry, back pain is just it's like that. It fights through the meds, and that's the sad part though. When it fights through the meds, you end up with having to take stuff you don't want to take, and that's how some people get hooked. You know what I mean? So you gotta when you going through that, you gotta have the willpower to either get through it without the pills or um, be able to get over the pills once you through the pain.
Whole time I was about to bake some edibles and just like, look, I mean me a whole slice.
I mean, or you could do that too. You can do that too. I mean, but so let's get into this. What is your favorite era of the NBA?
I mean, being who I am, just the mentality and perseverance I got, it's got to be them 2 years that the Houston Rockets won a championship in the NBA.
Okay,
That
okay,
whole era, that was the best era.
all right. So, and you feel it was the best and your favorite?
Of course, like
Okay.
that's when I was a shot blocker even as a fourth and fifth grader. Man, I would love to do nothing other than like all that 3 pointers and a third. Like I'm here to throw that shot the other way, and I would block a person's shot and let you get the ball back and come back just so I could try and do it again.
Now I hear that. I hear that, bro. I hear that. Hey, listen. So this is where we get into the debate portion, right? Because my favorite era of basketball, like if I had to pick a 10-year span, it'd probably be like, or even a 15 year. Let's go a 15-year span. It for me, it'd be probably around 2000 to 2015 ish. Maybe a little less than that. Actually, I could go 2000 to 2010. Right? We got hold up, Big Zeke in the building with the greatest name on YouTube, by the way. Just want to point that out. But I want to go 2000 to 2010, and the reason why I feel like that span of athletes was just different. Like hear me out. My favorite player of all time played in that or at that time. Okay, Tracy McGrady, and I feel like that him, Kobe. Then you ended up with Melo, LeBron, D Wade. All these guys played through that stretch. Shaq was still there. You know what I mean? It was, and then you had that '04 which was my favorite. Is crazy thing. This was my favorite team ever. Was that 04 Pistons team, and that's the I don't know. I'm not even a Pistons fan, but that Pistons team that won the championship was one of my favorite built teams of all time. So I have to go with that span. And do I think that span of basketball, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, all of them dudes, do I think that era could beat the era that you're talking about? Do I think that era could even beat Jordan and them? And I'm gonna tell you straight up, I think it does. I think if they play the game, but you got some monsters over there though. You got some stars over there. So if you had to take a starting five from your era, who would it be?
So I got Shaq at the 5. My favorite player of all time. I got Hakeem at the 4. Because most people fail to remember Hakeem Olajuwon was a 4 in college and coming out of college. He got moved to the 5 out of necessity. He was always a 4. I got Pip at the 3. You have to take Jordan at the 2.
That. I can't argue that. But with my era, I can.
Is AI considered what era is AI considered in?
I think AI would be considered with my guys because he was drafted around when T Mac was drafted, late 90s, but he played a lot through the early 2000s. That was
the same era,
but that's 2010.
I would say that's like the same era because the era. I think the what is it? The
that's why I chose only
like 96, 97.
Yeah, that's why I chose only a 10-year span of 2000 to 2010. This way, it differentiates from where you were. But yeah, it's close to. It's pretty much the same era of basketball.
I could have sworn Iverson was drafted in that era. Because in the 90s to 2000, I could have sworn
90. I know T Mac was drafted in 97. T Mac was drafted in 97. I know that. Yeah, you see, we get the news, learn something new every day. That's why on this show we come in here, we talk about a little bit.
Yeah, Iverson was in 96.
Yeah, so that's what I said. He was drafted like a year before T Mac, either the same year or
year
before.
But yeah, the same year that the Rockets won the league was 97.
Yeah, but you got rookie AI. You know what I'm saying? I got already. That's a different AI. I got go to the championship AI in my era. But again, you can still run rookie AI at point because he came in nasty. It's not like he didn't come in nasty.
Right. So
he came in nasty.
If I run him at point, Jordan, I mean, there's probably some other points that I could probably say, oh yeah, this guy was a better point guard, but AI was just AI. Like from the time he came in the league, you couldn't get hands on him. That's why I was something. Oh, you could X, Y, you could R. Said AI proved that you gotta get your hands on me first.
Yeah.
Like a Steph Curry, you would still have to get your hands on him, especially with his control and dribble. Like a Kyrie, you would have to get your hands on him in the first place. Yeah. And as fast as they move, when you grab him and he pulls back and that jersey tugs, the ref could be blind as hell, but he still got to call that eventually.
So here's what my altercation is, right? I'm fumbling between putting AI on my squad. You know what? I won't put AI on my squad because he's on yours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run LeBron at point. Okay? I'm running Kobe at 2. I'm running Tracy McGrady at 3. Tim Duncan at the 4. And then I'm going to put, you already got Shaq, right? So yep. I'll put Dwight Howard at the 5. Jesus, bro. Like, come on. That's going to be a game. That's going to be a game. Young Dwight Howard.
2 out of your 5, I can say would be a problem.
That's a game.
LeBron and T-Mac are probably the Swiss Army knives on your team, but outside of that, like I don't know what's going to happen the rest of the way, because if you think about it, I got 3 defensive killers.
You're right. Kobe's gonna mimic whatever Jordan could do. Kobe's gonna mimic that. I think Kobe, because I think Kobe had just as much defensive uh uh presence as
Acumen.
Jordan did. Like, yeah, like he was there, like he was vicious. He was a dog. He wanted to get in your face. That's what I loved about that era. Because when you had games and they would highlight, oh, Tracy McGrady versus Kobe, it was literally Tracy McGrady versus Kobe.
Wait,
Like
who's
they
your
were.
four?
My four was Tim Duncan.
Yeah,
Tim
yeah. I
Duncan
got
at the
my
four.
big man. My big man got you.
I don't know, man. Timmy nasty. I mean, I could put KG there, but I'm gonna stick
Timmy
with Timmy,
nasty, but
bro.
I'm gonna tell you like KG told you in that story because I know you done saw that short. He said he was playing the game and all he heard Hakeem say, "I'm hitting him with lateral movement. He can't do nothing."
Ah, yeah,
KG said
yeah,
that was the meanest trash talk he ever heard. This motherfucker hit me with logic.
man. All right, that's tough though. Yeah, that's tough. But then you got to guard him on the other end too, though, because
But
Timmy don't miss.
a young Dwight Howard is going to end up in the same situation that a young Shaq was in.
Hacker Shaq, Hacker Dwight. You right.
But
They both get close to
Hakeem
the
didn't
line.
have to. Hakeem didn't hack a Shaq. Hakeem hit him with some of that futuristic. Hey, I've been doing this for a couple years, but
Yeah,
you'll
but
learn this soon.
it's gonna be Shaq on Shaq and Hakeem on Tim. Like that's two different. You know what I mean? I think. And then again, if I got to go to the bench, and you talking that era, if I'm going to the bench, I'm pulling KG off the bench. So,
But you still talking about Hakeem's the top shot blocker of all time. He's going to
yeah,
give
no, I'm
Timmy
not.
problems.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying that it's gonna be a great game, is what I'm saying. He's definitely gonna get him a
Yeah,
problem. But
it's gonna be tight.
they're gonna make him play
This
both
game's gonna be
ends.
down
Like,
to the coach. The coach is going to determine this game.
yo, all I gotta say is,
And I got ultra Phil Jackson. I don't got that old Phil Jackson who came to the Lakers and tried to figure it out then.
hey, I got I ain't even pick a coach. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you what I got. I got the man that could close a game out like it wasn't nobody business, bro. I got Tracy McGrady over there. That man scored 13 points in 30 seconds. It ain't been done. It ain't
I
been
mean, you could
done,
at
bro.
least say Greg Popovich or something. You just gave up on the coach.
That's true. I could take Pop. Yeah, I'll take Pop. I'll take Pop. Pop know what he doing. Pop know what he doing. I'll take Pop. I didn't really give up. I was just like, I ain't feel like thinking about it. But yeah, Pop is kind of the obvious, isn't it? He's kind of the obvious choice. He kind of has to be the obvious choice. And you know what's crazy? These two eras of basketball, like these times, if you look at the
They're different,
current
but not
era of
that different.
basketball, yeah, they're different, but not that different. But then you look at the current era of basketball, it's like it was a drastic change. You know what I mean? Yeah, you got LeBron's like the one surviving guy left, pretty much, like star that is. But how do you think that matchup lines up? Like either of our matchups against, say, a Jokic, Giannis, um, SGA. Who else would they have on their squad? Who would they run at point? SGA would be the 2. You got Giannis at the 4. You got Jokic at the 5.
Jokic at the 5. Can you even use LeBron? That motherfucker's in like 5 eras.
That's what I'm saying. I can't. You can't use LeBron because I already got LeBron started. So you got Curry at the point, but who's going to be the 3? Like who will be the 3 for that team?
KD. Sorry.
Yeah, Kevin Durant. I guess Kevin Durant. And I'm sorry, but that half those dudes don't play defense. KD don't play defense. I mean, once in a blue moon. Curry is always whoever offense on Curry. Like Curry, whoever offense on Curry. I promise you,
That's
bro.
like
They can give me the ball and I'll go score on Curry. I don't give a damn.
that's like when
damn.
What's his name? He's telling the story when Braun would hand the ball to Kyrie when it was on the cast. He handed the ball to Kyrie, and they do a switch screen and keep making Clay switch with Curry and put Curry on Kyrie.
Yep.
And everybody just back away.
Yeah, because it's whoever, bro. What year was it? I forgot what year it was. I was watching the Warriors, and it was my first time like really watching them. Um, and I'm watching the team come up, and they're passing the ball around, and it will always stop at whoever Curry was guarding, and it was always a bucket. I say, "Yo, what is this?" I was like, this dude's supposed to be the star, and that was the first time I realized he doesn't play defense. He's not a good defender at all. And the Warriors, that's why I give them credit, and I gave Steve Kerr so much credit because they did a phenomenal job when they won them championships of covering up his defensive weakness, whether it was using Clay, and then obviously when KG came with KD, when KD came with his defensive help, when he was there, obviously you had Iguodala there. Um, those dudes really, really covered up the weakness that Steph Curry carried. What up, Hendo? You got the Rogue Pod in the building. If you ain't subbed to that, man, go sub because you don't know what you're missing out on, man. Great content over there. And he still owed me video that we talked about. I ain't gonna put it out here because I ain't gonna do that. But he know exactly what we talking about. If you know, you know. I'm still waiting. I've been checking.
Don't he owe us a couple of hanging with Hendo streams too?
I'm not gonna put that on him because the hanging with Hendo streams were retired, and he rightfully said he was going to retire.
I heard they were coming back for the Patreon members, but then we ain't never getting none.
Oh yeah, I don't remember hearing that, but I do remember hearing that I do remember him saying he was going to retire after he did as he did the last one. He said it might be the last one, so I can't fully hold him to, bringing the show back. I can't do that to him. But we did talk about something in a private conversation that he was supposed to be working on, and I'm waiting on. So I'm just gonna point that out there.
You think we could at least get a StreamYard hangout as the Patreon members?
Hold on. I got it. He does live stream. Him and Miss Yolanda have said they will be coming back for live streams during the football season. So
full court press too.
Yes. So we're expecting you. We're expecting you. All right. You got to be here. You know what I'm saying? We need those. We need that Sunday content. You know what I'm saying? My boy Jared be hitting us with the streams on Saturdays and Sundays whenever he can. But how did she? I don't recall that. Although she did say soon, and soon hasn't happened yet. So I don't know what soon means when it comes to it.
That was a lawyer soon. So there's wiggle room.
Yeah, there's always wiggle room. Speaking
there's you right there. Hendo out here lying on you, Miss Yolanda.
Speaking of Miss Yolanda, welcome in. Another great streamer and YouTuber. If you don't know, now you know. Please go check her out. Great content over there. So to fill y'all in that just came in, we were talking about our favorite era of sports versus the best era. And we picked like a 10-year span. And I gave my starting five. He gave his starting five. And I think we got what will be an all-time great game. You want to give him your starting five one more time?
We got Shaq at 5, Hakeem at the 4, Scott Pipp at the 3, Jordan at the 2, AI at the 1.
All right, and I had LeBron at the 1 because this is a young LeBron too. Great passer, dominant. I love that answer right here. When Yolanda was streaming, that was my favorite era too.
Right, streaming with Hendo every day for 30 days straight, right?
That was fire. So I had LeBron at the 1, Kobe at the 2, Tracy McGrady at the 3, Tim Duncan at the 4, and a young Dwight Howard at the 5. And boy, I tell you, I feel like that would be a banger of a game. Like absolute heat. He acting up a little bit, but you know what? That's that great chemistry you guys have that on screen there, where y'all can get on here and just kill these streams like y'all do. Absolutely kill them.
Oh, this weekend. Ooh, not a lot.
Oh, this weekend, huh? That's news. Breaking news. Breaking news. The Rogue Pop
Hot on
returns
fire.
to the screen this weekend. She is hiding. I agree. She has been hiding. So let me do this then, Mr. Ghost. Take it to football. Right? What is your favorite era of football? I'm not gonna make you do a starting lineup for this. But what is your favorite era of football?
This gonna sound cliche, but it definitely was the 90s.
Okay.
You got Ronnie Lott. Actually, I don't know. You do have Ronnie Lott, but then, like, Sean Taylor's my favorite player of all time. Like, that's just my favorite player, period. But I would say my favorite era would have to be that 90s. That's when it was really like, and I was young too.
So,
I didn't even know San Francisco was so far away.
So for me, this is gonna sound a little crazy, but for me, it was the early 2000s, and that 2010 range. And I think the main reason is because I got into football in '96. I was like 8 years old, so a lot of the stuff prior I saw when I was younger than that. But then a lot of it I went and watched, obviously after the fact, just to continue learning the game of football. But the 2000s, man, growing up in this sport and really being dug in to see the birth of Tom Brady, Mike Vick, now Lamar Jackson, watching now, 20 years later. But these athletes that we saw, the Randy Mosses, Terrell Owens, Ocho Cinco, to watch the game, because I feel like from 2000 to 2010, you saw an era of the game where running mattered, but passing the ball really became an elite part of the game. So I think watching that era, that had to be my favorite era of football. And I'm gonna go out and say on a limb and say it might have been the best era of football. Only because if you go too late, you go into the 80s, Johnny U, and you got a lot of great guys.
Johnny U.
But,
Johnny U was like the 60s, bro.
I know. I'm saying I said the 80s and later. Or I should have said earlier. Sorry, you go into the 80s and earlier.
Okay, I'm about to say this.
What? Yeah, you go to the 80s and earlier. You had a lot of great guys back then, whether it be Johnny U, you had your great running backs, all of that. But the game was different. There was no, you weren't getting the plays we got through the 2000s.
I don't even think you could pass back in the 60s.
You had some great ones, but it wasn't the same. But before I continue, hold on. We got a certain six in the building. What's good, sir?
Yes, sir. And I'm the only six that should be in the building.
Well, I'm the 8-6, and mine is before yours in my name, and so you the last 6.
I don't even sound sexy.
Hey, it is what it is. Y'all can debate the sixes later.
And you the younger 6, right?
He is the.
And I'm a 6-footer.
I'm gonna leave that conversation alone because I'm standing here lowly at 5'8". So yeah, y'all can have that. Y'all can have that. I'm good. I like my height.
I like my height too. Right at 6 foot. Look, how the doctors be saying? Look, you're 72 inches. All right.
All right. So we were just talking about our favorite era of football. Now I know you being the younger, growing one of the group. I don't know if you watched, old school football. If you went back, because like a lot of us, we missed old school football, but we went back and we watched it. We watched tapes. We watched old games.
Oh, my 90s football, I watched it live, okay?
Yes, you did watch it live. You did say 90s, so you did watch that live. But tell me, where were you, Jay, with football?
You fell in love with
When you,
football.
yeah, like when did you really see it and go, this is my game? Just like when did you see the Panthers and go, this is my team? Salute.
When I fell in love with the Panthers, it was in I want to say mid to late 2000s. Definitely with that squad with Jonathan Stewart, D'Angelo Williams, Jake Delhomme. I could go on forever, but pretty much that squad when they were like double trouble when they ran for 1,000 yards each in one season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, and also, especially Steve Smith, the angry man he is, just really, that I don't take no shit type of attitude. I don't care if I'm 5'9", I'm still gonna go through you. You know what I'm saying? Cut you up with the footwork and score this touchdown.
Facts.
Yeah, I think like Steve Smith just like seemed to overcome a lot and still deliver, and that's what made me fall in love with the Panthers. So definitely the early 2000s, early pretty much that 2000 era. Then late, then around like 2010 ish. That's when I started to realize like the other position of football and how important like an O line really was. Because when we lost Jordan Gross, our left tackle, Francis been fishing for a left tackle always until he selected Icky. So I'm like, dang.
Now you
If we
know
don't
he
have
was talking about Steve Smith. Don't do that.
what?
He put in the chat. Jay just said he don't care if he's 5'9". You know he was talking about Steve Smith.
That's what he just said.
Well, he did say Steve Smith said, but
I didn't hear that.
I tell you what, that's just so it's funny how I became a Ravens fan because, like I said, I ain't started really watching football until I was like 7, 8 years old. Maybe like I watched it when I was little because my mother watched it. My family was all into football, so I watched it, but I didn't have a favorite team. So I'm about 8, and I decide, it's time for me to get a favorite team. 7, 8 years old, and I actually happened to be watching. Who was it? I forgot what I was watching, but I remember hearing them say the Ravens were a new franchise. I said, "Oh, well, perfect. I'll go with them." It was kind of like it was like convenient, and then you watch them play, and you seen that dog. That dog that was running around ripping people's heads off over there. Ray Lewis. You seen that monster on the line, feeding D linemen dirt. You know what I'm saying? Jonathan Ogden.
Where were you going? Where were you going with that statement?
And I was just saying he was feeding them dirt. He was bullying them, bro. And I became a big fan. And from there on out, it was like I could dig this. And then 2000 comes, and I think in 2000 I'm at my peak fandom now, like 99, 2000. I'm like, yeah, I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. And I remember we were playing the Giants in the Super Bowl, and my mother, even before this, my mother had picked, I think, the Ravens to lose every round we had been in. But I was, yeah. So we get to the Super Bowl. I remember watching the AFC Championship with her, and we were playing the Raiders. And the Raiders were the highest scoring team in the league that year, I believe. It was actually the Giants. The Giants was the highest scoring team. The Raiders were second. And we ended up stomping them. And it was like, we're going to the Super Bowl. So then we go to the Super Bowl, and my mom's a Giants fan. And we're like, oh, it's on. She's like, oh, yeah, I can't beat the Giants. Best offense in the league, blah, 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 blah. Watch and learn. watching. I didn't even watch the game with her. She sat in the living room and watched the game. I sat in my room and watched the game. When I tell you, every time the Ravens did something good, and I've probably told this story 1,000 times on here, I came charging out of my room. Whose house is this? Ravens. Whose house is this? Going off. She couldn't stand me. My mother couldn't stand me. For that night, through those hours, that football game, and for the next week or so, because I was on fire. She couldn't stand me because I had solidified myself as a Ravens fan. I had solidified that house as a Baltimore Raven household at that point because we had a chip. It was our first chip too. So for me, it was huge, man. I've been in love with football since then. So you do that and you really open your eyes the first time and your team wins a championship. Well, yeah, the following years is going to be the greatest years you watch, you know? So that's why it was ended up my favorite era of football was those next 10 years or so. Come 2012, we won again, you know. Happy man again. This time we beat the 49ers, which happens to be my uncle's favorite team. So I had to call my uncle and let him have it. But yeah. That's why I chose the era I chose, man. And that's why I chose the Ravens. And I think with the athletes you had in that 2010, the 2010 range, man, I think they're really unstoppable. Especially since you had those Ravens defenses in that era too, which are that's two defenses from Baltimore that was regarded as two of the best defenses the NFL has ever seen. You know what I mean? So I just think that era of football was different. And even to now, you know what I mean? Being in 2025, we're going to look at football soon. Yes, we get more weeks. Yes, more high-flying football, but defense. I was watching the highlight clip the other day of some hard hits. Man, they used to try to kill these dudes on the field. And the more impressive part was 9 times out of 10, these dudes would still get up after a hit like that and be ready to go again. People was just built different. We was built different. Our eras were built different than today's football. I'm not gonna call them soft, but they're not, they're not tough. Like, I ain't gonna say they're not tough because they are in the NFL. But
I want to say this, like, I guess the early, like the late 2000s, the early 2010s. I was just thinking about like the safeties, like we had to watch. You know what I'm saying? The top 3 that comes to mind, of course, Ed Reed, Eric Weddle, Eric Berry, Troy Polamalu. Like, I don't really see that in safeties. You know what I'm saying? Like, in order for you to be like a respected team, you gotta have that safety.
And don't forget Sean Taylor.
Sean Taylor, yep.
You don't get that type of safety play.
Nah. And I remember when Eric, I think the Rams, when the Rams, I think when they won the Super Bowl, they called Eric Weddle out of retirement. Just so they can, hey man, we need your expertise. I know you probably eating good, laying on the couch, but you might be the final piece. And Eric Weddle wasn't the hard hitting type. He was instinctual. He just knew where to be.
Yeah, he was intelligent, man. He was a smart safety. He knew, and he wasn't even the fastest, but he knew how to get there and when to get there.
Actually, I'll say one safety that I see out there, and that's Harrison Smith on the Vikings. I will say Harrison Smith's been holding down the safety spot, the top safety spot for a long time.
Yeah. You know what? Another guy, Bob Sanders, man. That dude was nasty. And this is I was about to say the same thing, and I was about to say he had the same problem that I have with Ardarius Washington now. Ardarius Washington is a dog, but if he was healthy, he would be a problem.
I make fun of him all the time, but guess what? He's not afraid to go up against the T. Higgins. He's not afraid to go get Jamar Chase. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Every time T. Higgins score a touchdown in his zone, guess who's trying to guard him? 5'8", Ardarius Washington. I don't see no Marlon Humphrey. I don't see no other cornerback or safety. No, it's little man trying to help y'all.
Yep, a little bit coming over.
Yeah, they got the biggest heart.
Yeah, he coming over to crack somebody, bro. And that's what I love, man. He's got that heart, like you said. He ain't playing no games, and I feel bad for him because he's hurt again. He's gonna miss another year of football, and that dude, he deserves, whether it's with Baltimore or somewhere else, he deserves to be healed 100% and get back in this league so he can finish showing people what he can do because he's an absolute.
He's
monster.
the closest we got to Black Air Force energy.
Facts. But I mean, it might be different now. Drafting Mike Green, we might have that Black Air Force energy. He might bring that. You know what I'm saying? But so all right, we got the sports out the way. I got a question for y'all. Right? Let me ask y'all this. Now I've been watching Love Island with the missus, right? And I'm actually surprised at how much I actually like the show because I'm not into the reality stuff and all that, but I actually kind of like the show. But I got a problem though. I do got a problem. And Jay, I know we talked about this, and you're gonna end up watching it at some point with the missus. You can fight it all you want, but you're gonna end up watching it, brother. But I can tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you though, you'll enjoy it. Trust me, you'll enjoy it. But I think my major problem is the double standard that we are held to as men in relationships or in general is never more apparent than on this show. So my ladies got to be watching back season 6 while we watch season 7 as well. And there's a point where this guy was with this girl. He had met her for 2 days. 2 days they talked, but then they got split up into separate houses or whatever. And while there, he met another girl. That was, which is what they're supposed to do, just with the whole purpose of the show. He met another girl, ended up going to connection with her. He's like, I want to continue to explore the connection I had before moving to this house, but I want to continue to talk to you too. So I'm going to bring you to the house as well, so I can talk to the both of you and figure out which one is best for me. Which is what you're supposed to do. It's the whole premise of the show. He comes walking in with the other girl. Oh, they're calling him all types of names. You ain't you a dog, you this, you that, blase. Tearing them a new one, right? So it's like, okay, that's messed up. Well, I thought that was the purpose of the show, right? They got all emotional on them, chicks crying, threatening to beat up the other chick. It was crazy. So they move on to later in the show. Fast forward, they done did all this, made him feel guilty, got the man crying out of guilt, everything. Move on, fast forward. There's this lady. She meets this dude. She's talking to him for 2 days. 2 days. And they bring in some new dudes to the place. She ends up feeling one of the new dudes. And says, I want to explore, I want to explore how things will go with the both of you. One of the dudes says, no. This is a different guy from before. Dude's like, yo, if you're going to do that, he's like, I'm not fighting for anybody's love. Like, if you like him, just go be with him. I'm not going to fight for your heart or whatever. But she wants to explore it too. Now, mind you, all these ladies butchered a dude for wanting to explore too prior. After knowing the chick for 2 days, he wanted to explore elsewhere, obviously, because they were still open. It's not like a lockdown relationship. You're not dating nothing. So this chick does the same thing, and they're calling the dude a dog because that he's an idiot because he didn't want to just he didn't want to smother this girl when she wanted to talk to another dude anyway. She wanted to test them both out to see who she fit with best. That's the point of the show. It is what it is. But he was like, yeah, I'm not really for that. but he's the bad one somehow. So how is it that this lady does what the other dude did, and that dude was the bad one when he did it, but when this lady does it, the dude again is the bad one? The double standard is outrageous, right? So I'm gonna give you a forewarning that this show is rage bait. It's rage bait, but it's a good time.
I can see it.
It's rage bait. It's very much rage bait, but it's a good time. Okay. They be having fun. They be partying. They be shaking that thing all over the place. Jay?
From ghetto to ghetto to backyard to yard.
Yo. I'm telling you, Jay, even you, yo, B, even you, I would suggest you check out an episode or two. I'm sure you'll like it, bro. You might not necessarily like the show, but you'll like the visuals.
Into the visuals.
Yes, you'll like the visuals. I like the show. I like
I'm
the
be
clown
sitting
the
there.
show. I have a good time. I'm a comedian.
I'll be sitting there
My
as a
wife
single
be
man
fucking
watching the dating
dying.
show.
Huh?
I'm be sitting there as a single man watching the dating show.
Well, technically, yes, it's a dating show, yes. But I'm not saying you can put the show on mute and you can split screen it with something that you actually want to watch. Just watch a little bit of the visuals. It's a very appealing show, visually. But that brings a question, though, right? That brings a question. Because I brought all that up to say, if you're in a relationship, right, whether it's pre-relationship or relationship, at what point, and I know you guys both have a different answer, so at what point do you consider it, okay, it's time to lock down? Is that something that y'all feel someone has to clearly specify? Or is it something you just feel? And two people just figure out, like, okay, yeah, I feel like it's lockdown time. Or does it have to be specified? Like, let me know what y'all think. Okay, Mr. Ghost, go ahead. You already started. Go ahead.
I specify. Well, I take no. I'm a Taurus. We don't do misunderstandings and miscommunications. You gonna know where you stand, and that's just how life is. When I decide,
Right.
hey, Charlie, we should go ahead and get this a run. Let me know how you feel about it, and get back to me. My wife she ain't had to wait. I let her know flat out. Hey, this is the goal. This is what I'm working for. This is what I'm trying to do. You in or you out?
I respect it. Jay, what do you think? Is it something you feel? Something you know? Yeah, like, is it something if you're talking to someone and you guys aren't necessarily locked in, do you feel when you're locked in, or do you have to say when you're locked in? Because I know some people they like to date and then they'll go, hey, we're openly dating. Like, you can still see whoever you want. Or are you like more on the sense of let's give each other the attention and see if this is special?
I say more like I'll say this, more like a feeling in oneself, but you gotta verbalize that shit and not be, I say, afraid to tell the other person regardless of the answer. Does that make sense?
No. That definitely that makes sense.
So what you're saying is they kind of told you and you agreed?
No, actually, I think if I do remember correctly, I don't know if she is watching this. If I do remember correctly, I think she was waiting for me, to properly ask her. Saying, we dating, you're my girlfriend, boyfriend, yada yada. We've been felt each other. She was waiting on the proper introduction. And she wanted me to say it with my chest.
She wants you to G up. Hey, woman. Hey, woman. You want to be mine?
You know what time it is. You know what we doing here.
Yeah, you
mine like now. You sound like the plugs with it. Aye.
Yeah, say it with your chest. Say it with your chest. So for me, right? I agree with both you gentlemen said. It's good to. I think it has to be specified. I think you do have to come out and say, especially nowadays, right? because
Oh, yeah.
boy, nowadays things are wild. So I
Then
think
again,
you do have to come out. Yeah, like
I
I
would say
think you
like
do
even then
have to come out.
nowadays, though, even then nowadays, you specify it, that still ain't enough.
Yeah, but
It's
you know
cold.
what?
It's cold
That's
out here.
true. That's true. But I think once you lay your cards on the table, what happens from there is kind of easier to deal with, right? Because you go, look, I laid my cards on the table. I told you where I stand. That wasn't good enough. Oh well, it's a little easier for you to move on from that. It's a little easier for you to go. It just didn't work out. It wasn't meant to be.
I did what I
I
could.
yeah, exactly. I did everything I could, and as crazy as it sounds, that's exactly like this is gonna sound wild, but that's the exact conversation I feel like Lamar Jackson has with himself at the end of every season. I think he goes back and he goes, "Hey man, I did what I could. Y'all niggas suck. John Harbaugh, you ain't the guy." But anyway, um, NBA draft just passed. Now, the NBA draft just passed. Jay, we were conversing
I
about this. I
actually
know you
missed
weren't
that.
very happy. Huh? What'd you say, B?
Oh no! It was a sidebar thing. I asked the guy about the price on his motorcycle. He sends me some pictures and it says it has this many miles, but I ain't see no number. So I asked for the price tag. I want the price tag, not the stats.
Mm, mm. Yeah, nah, don't mess with that bike, bro. He
Yeah,
trying to
that
Jimmy
again.
Jam
That's
you.
about. This is what I need. This is what I want. This is about clear communication, which apparently people don't do.
No, people don't do clear communication. Not all people, at least. Not all people. But
That's something
like
that even I got to work on. Communication. With my my livelihood at the moment. So I definitely got to work on that. Like I mean to say it, but I be saying it in my head and then forget to say it. To the ears that need to hear it. So yeah, I definitely need to work on that.
well, hold on. There's a difference though because that goes on both sides though. That goes for both sides. And sometimes when you've been in a situation like you've been in, which for how many ever years now, up until now, up until this past year, you're trained differently based off your past interactions. You know what I'm saying? So you might, if you're in perfect example, if you're in a loveless relationship, then say for 5, 10 years, then for 5, 10 years, you're not training. You're not used to waking up. Hey, beautiful, I love you. How you doing? What's your day look like? Different things like that. You're not used to that because that person doesn't reciprocate it. Once you see somebody doesn't reciprocate it, you kind of stop doing it yourself, and then you become not used to doing it, right? And it's just another thing, and now it's just talking. Well, you can't blame yourself when you get into something new for forgetting to do things. That it's up to that person to show you. Like if they show you how much they love you, I just seen my camera got a little fuzzy there. I don't know why that is, but if they show you how much they love you, you'll reciprocate that back. It just takes time. You can't always beat yourself up because it does take time because of the pain you've dealt with. But just believe it'll come. You know what I mean? It'll come where it gets consistent again. I can promise that. I can guarantee that if as long as your significant other is consistent, you will become consistent.
You can lead that horse to water.
Exactly. Exactly. Except listen, we are not calling anybody a horse specifically. No one take offense to that in any way, shape, or form. It
Boy,
is
I'm part
just a
stallion.
saying.
You tripping?
Okay. But yeah, man, that's something where Jay, don't beat yourself up. It'll come, bro. I think we all know where your heart is. We all know where your mind is, and we also know you're going through a lot. So you kind of gotta take it one day at a time. You know what I'm saying? We all get there. I'm going through things myself now. I just you know everything's mostly good except for one area right now. with my work situation. But outside of that, the rest of my life is good. So I focus on that. And the work stuff, I just kind of, I pray over and I do what I got to do to move forward. But if you find yourself, you already know if you need to talk, hit me up. But if you find yourself where you sometimes you just gotta
Us,
sit back, yeah, my bad, us. You're right. If you
help
find
me
yourself,
all out. Like, dang.
you know how I go when you talking, you get on the roll. You know what I'm saying? I was on the
My
roll.
little
All right,
feelings.
my bad. I was on the roll. But you get to a point where sometimes you just need to meditate, or you just need somebody to listen. You got us for that. But NBA draft, as I was saying, what just happened. This is just a quick rundown for the folks. Cooper Flag was drafted first, which we all knew was going to happen.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, right. What a surprise, right? I'm gonna say this, and I don't know if you guys will agree. I don't think the NBA draft matters. The NBA draft is, I'm not gonna say it's pointless, but it's pointless, right? 9 times out of 10, those picks don't make a big difference in year one. Some of them take quite a few years to really show up. Now we've had guys that come in year one. I'm not saying none, because some guys do come in year one and go crazy. But should the NBA get rid of the lottery system and figure out a different way to do the draft? Like, should it just be like the NFL, where it's just worst record gets the first pick, or should it be like college, where you got to recruit the players?
I
What
think
do you think?
it was something like worst team gets the first pick, but it became just like teams in the NFL do now. Like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to tank and I'm going to get this player. Now it is like some teams do kind of just be like, bruh, you could have won 15 more games if you really wanted to. But you want more chances at that first pick, which now, because it's a lottery type system, you're still not guaranteed that first pick, so you might have just sucked for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? I think the reason I have no problem with the way the NFL has been doing it is because it makes a difference. We've seen teams go from having the worst record in the league to being one of the best teams in the league with a couple of early draft picks. You know what I'm
The
saying?
Rams rebuilt their whole roster within 2 years doing it.
Exactly. That and
But
signing,
then,
some of the hottest free agents.
right, the NBA is only 2 players though, so it's like what is really the point, the difference? Like you might like LBHT said, you might as well just let these players sign with the team that they want to sign with and try to make the team. And if you sign with the team and you don't make the damn team, then you might have a problem when everybody's trying to sign with the Golden State Warriors because they just won a championship. You don't make the team, but the guys who signed with maybe the Chicago Bulls or the Clippers or whoever had a worse year, they not only make the team, but they actually get to start.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be interesting. I think it would be interesting. It would be tough because, like you said, it would be a bunch of people trying to go to the team that just won a championship, or their favorite team, or their hometown team. But it would cause an interesting dilemma, right? Because as an owner,
It could backfire.
it could definitely backfire. But as an owner, though, you look at it and you go, okay, now I have to kill free agency. Like, I have to absolutely be a maestro with my trades and be on point with the players that I sign. Right?
I always felt the draft should be first and then free agency, because people say, oh, well, the veterans won't like it, because what if you go into a draft and you draft everybody who you think is going to be good? And 3 weeks after you draft this guy who you think is going to be A1, you realize he's ass. You're going to pay what you got to pay for that free agent. That is worth that is better than him. And if you draft your free agent, if you draft your your guys first, the rookie deals are based on a certain number anyways. So you still are going to have that amount to spend on free agents regardless. You just would know what holes to fill because say I get a Kirk Cousins. Now Michael Penix drops to me. Now I'm gonna get Michael Penix too. In 2 years, Kirk Cousins might be cut anyways because now this isn't really a hole. Kirk Cousins could have seen what happened in the draft and went to a team that definitely needed him. Didn't have any other option at QB and held them up for a ransom if he wanted to.
Yeah. But there's the flip side of that too, though, where you go into the draft, you get all the players you want, and they end up as good as you believe they are. Now those guys, those vets, are sitting out on their behind for no reason.
Not necessarily, because there's still 31 other teams. There's at least 20 teams who go into a draft and come out of a draft with holes. At least 20 teams.
Yeah, but you look at the way the NFL is now, and we got all these talks of colluding and, you know, blackballing players and all that. You give them that power, and I guarantee every team is going to sit here and go, look, let's just play our rookies, bro. They're getting paid less. You know what I mean? It's back to the colluding, right? Because they're going to say, they're getting paid less. We save money. Just play the young guys, and it is what it is. We don't care as long as people are coming showing up to games. Who cares? Right?
The cap has a mandatory minimum that you have to spend every year. There's a minimum. The cap has a minimum that each team has to spend.
Yeah, but best believe they still gonna spend the minimum. But they're gonna spend it on the guys they got. Why go into free agency when we could draft your replacements, pay them less but well enough, and move forward without spending the extra dough we don't need to spend?
Because somebody like the Rams is going to say, oh, you don't want Janoris Jenkins? Bet, we'll take him. You don't want Aaron Donald? Bet, we'll take him. You don't want Michael Parsons? Bet, we'll take them.
Where was that person when Lamar Jackson was sitting there needing a new contract?
Even if you drafted the rookies first, Lamar Jackson was still going to get his contract. No, there's a certain amount of money that's set aside for the rookies before the draft even happens.
I know that, but what I'm saying is, where was that person? If the league is colluding, that person's not going to show up. That person's not going to pop out and be like, you know what? I need all these guys. I'm signing them. Forget everybody else. They're not going to do it.
The league was colluding, but I guarantee you, if it got to a certain point where the Ravens still hadn't signed Lamar, somebody was going to say, well, shit, we gave them a chance. They're obviously bullshitting. So we're going to go after Lamar and try to make our team a winner because apparently these fools is playing around. So and most of the other teams don't. Go ahead. If they didn't do that, eventually somebody was going to cross that line. And even everybody already said, even Lamar said, they had a contract worked out. The only reason he hadn't signed a contract is because he told them, I need weapons. Get me D-Hop, get me Odell, and I'll sign a contract because I need.
Well, did you see the thing that came up? Hold on. Did you see the thing that came up recently though about the colluding? He wanted a fully guaranteed contract. Only reason he settled was because. So this is the point I'm making. Only reason he settled on the contract he got was because all the other guys agreed that they wouldn't reach out for a fully guaranteed contract. Now, when you get that being the case, right? This is what I'm saying. If he holds standard that I'm not playing unless it's a fully guaranteed contract, you think one of those other guys is going to break their agreement with the other owners and say, okay, I'll pay you fully guaranteed?
And you know what? It's already happened twice. And that's why they went after Daniel Snyder that year that he signed Albert Haynesworth. And it was another owner that year, the uncapped year. It was another owner, MSK. It was another owner that actually broke that agreement that all the owners had. It was Daniel Snyder and it was somebody else on that uncapped year. So there's going to be at least 3 or 4 people who are going to say, you know what? To hell with it. I'm trying to win a championship, and they're going to step out. And they're going to do it. Eventually, somebody will. Somebody was eventually.
I don't know, man. I don't know. This one seems to cut a little deeper than those previous ones.
I mean,
Like I feel like they were. What happened?
They stayed held pat this time, but every other time that they've had a gentleman's agreement between the owners, it's always been somebody who's broken ranks and been like, "To hell with that. I need to get who I need to get."
That's why, but that's what them standing pat this time is what makes me think, oh yeah, nah, they would have still stood pat if Lamar didn't come down to not wanting a fully guaranteed contract. Then they were not going to get him a fully guaranteed contract. That's just that. And then you had the whole, because I think you're missing the one key thing you're missing here is that good old grandstanding skin complexion. If this is any other quarterback, if this is Josh Allen, it's probably not a question, right? But because it's Lamar Jackson and he's got his own agent, like he doesn't have an actual agent, his mom's his agent, so the money's staying in the family. I think they would continue to fight that and collude against it. But I mean, I guess it doesn't matter now, but it's one of those things that we must look at for the future going forward.
Well, next year they're going to be monkeys over a damn barrel with Lamar's cap hit being $70 million. So if Lamar says, "Hey, fully guarantee me or take the cap hit or cut me," I think they might fully guarantee him for $55 million instead of being hit with a cap of $70-something million on just him alone. I mean, it's not much room they have around it. That's just my opinion. $70 million for one guy is a big amount of money. And the cap might be what, say it goes up to even 180. You're still talking about 35 to 45% of your cap room being spent on one guy, no matter how great he is. You can't rework anybody else's contract to save that much.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I agree, but these dudes, I don't know, man. I don't know. They're willing to risk it the first time with Lamar. They'll be more than willing to risk it this time. So,
well, they say he didn't have any leverage then. Right now, he has leverage. Cap hit $70 million, or you figure out who you want to cut.
Let's be real. He had leverage. This team knew they were nothing without Lamar. They always knew that.
Yeah, but they was going to pretend like they had another option. Now I'm under contract. You pay that $70 million or you have to cut me. And if you cut Lamar Jackson, yeah, you have to do some explaining.
Yeah, but we don't know what the language of that contract is. What if the language in that contract says he doesn't get anything if he don't show up?
I mean, he could show up. What I'm saying is his contract is $70 million against the cap. If he shows up, he's going to show up because he's getting paid regardless. But if they want him to restructure, they're going to have to do what he wants to do if they want to restructure or do an extension so that they don't have to pay. Because they can do an extension and his cap hit will go down to like 35 or 45 mil as opposed to 70. So he's still going to show up because he's getting paid regardless. But if they want an extension to reduce that cap hit so that they can spend that money on somebody else, he's pretty much got him over a barrel.
I don't know, but I hope they get it together. Lamar's about to induct the greatest quarterback to ever play the game of football, and they need to do what they need to do to fix it. But y'all, it's been that good power hour. We're gonna get up out of here. Look at the timing. It's like our minds click. Look at the timing, right? I just finished talking about that show, by the way, babe. We gotta get up out of here. It's been we thank y'all for joining us another Friday. We will be back again next week, and we will have some more crazy topics for you. Mr. Ghost B, you want to tell them where they can find you, sir?
You can find me on here all 465 subs. I need 35 more. I'm trying to get rich out here in these streets. And a6ghost.com and here every Friday that I'm not sick.
Word. Mr. J, we already know the answer, but let them know where to find you anyway.
I guess. But Jada takes on everything that I do. Not shortly afterwards, but when I do get back home, catch me on, let's say Twitch. Might do IRL, might be gaming. Who knows? But also YouTube, also TikTok, and now I'm trying to work the Facebook. That I butcher this word every time I try to say algorithm. There you go. Yeah, I'm about to kill myself. I'm trying to say that word, but we're trying to grow. We're trying to get where Ghost is. We grow up. You know what I'm saying? Kind of lacking on the subscriber side on YouTube, but we'll get there. We don't pay attention to the numbers right now. Just doing it for the hell of the fun. But then, when it comes, there's a good time where we get down to nitty gritty and focus on how we get the subscribers up. But yeah, thanks, Reg. I know I came on kind of late this Friday, but yeah, catch me on Fridays too. Apparently, I'm the healthiest one out of the three. So
the youngest.
That's it.
Hey, yeah, the youth makes that happen, right? The youth makes that happen. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us, man. It's been a great show. Y'all know y'all find me here. Your boy's only here. I'm gonna look into getting on Facebook. I do have a Twitch channel. I just don't use it.
You need to.
Soon you might catch me on Twitch too. We'll see what happens. I'm trying to find some software.
TikTok?
I got things to do. No, I will not be getting on TikTok. There's a story behind that though, and I will get into it with you off air. I'll let you know why, but I will not be getting into TikTok.
But you and the missus can do couples content, man. Ain't gonna lie, that's hot. That's what's hot in the streets right now.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah. But we thank y'all. Make sure y'all come through again next week. And if you miss any part of the show, catch it on the replay. And I probably will be cutting us some shorts at some point. So thank y'all. We love y'all. Stay blessed. Peace.